Sons and daughters of the living God, it is a happy Sabbath. Oh my word, it has been good. I want to thank the Glee Club from Avondale. Testify, there was some harmony there. That was good for my soul. Honestly, go join Avondale. Get involved in the Glee Club, that was beautiful. My goodness. I want to thank my Nunna crew. Yeah, for leading in worship. They have created some church here this morning. The Spirit has been here, and that has been beautiful. I tell you the truth, and I say this with great caution, but listen, if you're looking around, if you're visiting churches and you haven't quite selected one, you got to check out Nunna Wadding, okay? I mean, I've been to other churches, and they're all good, and they're brilliant, but please, honestly, the testimony that Beck shared this morning, the way in which she found a crew that helped her move from darkness to light was... Yes, that is what we are doing here at church. If we're not helping people move from darkness to light, what are we doing? It was beautiful. Thank you to Phil for the opportunity to speak here at the youth rally. I love a youth rally. It's a good moment. It feels like church. It's beautiful. It's a time when you come together and all the guys have got new haircuts, all freshly shorn down the sides, got their A game on. All the girls, they're wearing brand new clothes. Yes. It's the time when you come and you sit one or maybe two rows behind at an angle of about 45 degrees from the person you have a crush on. So that way, as you're singing and worshiping and watching the sermon, you can see them in your peripherals. I see some people turning around right now. Just go ahead, do it now. You won't be able to listen until you check out who's behind you. Take the chance. Unless, of course, you've got confidence. If you've got confidence, you don't sit behind them at a 45-degree angle. You just go and sit in front of them. She will fall in love with me if she stares at my back. Because my back is good. You come to a youth rally and you get these messages that say, go change the world. That's usually what happens when you come to a youth rally. You got your A game on, you got your hair done, you got your new clothes on, you're sitting at the 45-degree angle, and you get these messages and they say, go change the world. Go leave a legacy. Go leave an imprint on history. You have people like Sam Lenore come along and they tell you stories that just get you right here. With his long fingers and his expressive hands, he talks to your soul. Or Jose Rojas, he'll come and he'll preach to you through his mustache. Or if the budget's a little smaller, you get somebody more local like me. And it's a pleasure and an honor. So I'm going to keep that tradition going today. Today I want to talk about leaving a legacy. Today I want to talk about the thing that we're told to do as Christians. Go, leave a legacy, change the world, they say. It'll be fun, get onto it. I want to talk about that. But today I want to talk about it in a way that is hopefully something that isn't discouraging but is achievable for you. Well, achievable for most of us. Because here this morning, amongst us, there might be 4, maybe 5 people who are just pure geniuses. Not many. There are probably 4 or 5 people who just for some reason genetically got incredibly lucky. Your IQs, your EQs, because that's a thing now as well, are far above the average. You are just brilliant. And when I say to you things like, everyone can leave a legacy, you can be a leader, you can change the world, you can leave an imprint on history, you get that. You understand that. You already know that you'll be somebody who will revolutionize this world. You're already seeing new ways of doing business, of creating products that will be innovative, of creating companies that create wealth and value. You're at the forefront of innovation. You are developing new ways of doing things. In the field of education, you're a teacher that brings about an order of higher consciousness in your students. You teach in Dandenong, but the kids are graduating from year 12 with a PhD. You just have an ability to bring a higher order consciousness to your children. You're a genius. In the field of mathematics and engineering, you are solving problems of the highest order. You are developing approaches to mathematical problems and you're designing buildings that will stand longer than the pyramids and be a lot more useful. You will enact moral reforms. You will see through the ways in which we do things. You will see the corrupt and broken ways in which we do things, and you will start new ways of behaving in this world. You'll be a political leader. You'll say, listen, the politics of this country is broken. I have a new approach. I have a new party. You're a genius, and your legacy is already well underway and growing. You already know that you will influence those generations beyond you, to the third, to the fourth, to the 10th, and the 100th generation. To those 3, 4, maybe 5 geniuses amongst us today, people already follow you. You know that. They're drawn to you instinctively. You'll be the Mother Teresas, the Steve Jobs, the Mandelas of our time. And I have no need to come here and convince you today that you'll leave a legacy. You're brilliant. You can already see the ways in which this world is conforming to your vision, following your creative lead, your prophetic calling. That's good. That's something that should be affirmed. I shouldn't be as jealous as I am. But to the rest of us who feel a little more average, to the rest of us who feel probably a little bit more like me, I'm thoroughly convinced I am an average person. There weren't any genetic advantages given here. I have no doubt about that, in the same way in which those geniuses amongst us already have ample confirmation of their ability. In my 32 years, I can clearly see my lot in life. It's okay. I'm not exceptional, but I can take that. I went back to Avondale a few months ago, my alma mater, the college where I was at, and when I was there, I could see I didn't leave a legacy. I studied there for 3 years, but they didn't rename the library after me. They didn't call up Mr. Jeremick and say, "Excuse me, I know the library is named after you, but we've had Chris Stanley come through." Oh man, he's been more pivotal to our history. He has changed our institution. I'm sorry, we're taking your name down. It is now the Chris Stanley Library. That didn't happen. I went back there, and people don't still talk about my theological ideas and papers and teachings. They don't talk about Chrisites and all those who follow my theological reflections. They haven't pinned my papers up on the walls in the theology department. It didn't happen. I must confess there wasn't much deep theological reflection going on in my soul back then. The waters weren't very deep at all. There was no diving in the shallow end. I visited my high school, and no, there aren't love poems written about Chrisanova in the girls' lockers. Well, there's one, but it was written in my locker by myself. I lived in Coburg for 3 years. The mayor did not call me up. There is not a single statue of me in Coburg. I am preaching at Wanturna every weekend, and they have not named the pulpit after me yet. It is not the Chris Stanley Memorial Pulpit. It should be. I played basketball with Adam Bailey 2 weeks ago at the Ringwood Rings. We played some pretty average basketball. I mean, we won, but it wasn't brilliant. I'm not allowed back with the team anymore. But they didn't give me a call and be like, "Hey, listen, Chris, we realize Ringwood Rings is a pretty stupid name for an auditorium. We're trying to go on alliteration, a bit of a pun, but we've decided to name it the Chris Stanley." It didn't happen. I played some average basketball there. I was average. In fact, most of the times when I look back at my life, and say, you know, actually that might have been a legacy moment. That might have been a memorable moment. That was during those moments of earth-shattering embarrassment. Those moments when everyone was watching, and I know that my actions were forever embedded in their memories, but it wasn't because I was doing something amazing. It was because I was doing something deeply embarrassing. I may as well tell you a couple of stories because you guys love this stuff. At Avondale College, there was a triathlon going on. I'd woken up early and I was keen to win the thing. I was doing a lot of training in triathlons at that time. I was built like a whippet on a diet. I mean, I was about probably 8 kilos less than I am now. It was ridiculous. I woke up that morning and I was sure I wanted to win this thing. I wanted to beat the teams and everything. This was my race. The best way to win a triathlon is to keep your time in transitions between the run and the swim and the bike down. And so what I do, I get out of the pool. I'm in second place. I'm a little bit disappointed. And so I come to my transition. I've got to start running next. And I come to where all my gear is. And I look down and I think I'm in second place. I probably don't have time to put my shorts on. It was a bad decision. I was in Speedos. I throw my shoes on, I grab my shirt, and I start running. If you've been to Avondale College, there's a long college drive that goes back and forth from the gate to the college. Sunday morning, most normal people are driving to the beach. Here I am running, built like a greyhound on a diet, in a pair of Speedos, pulling my "I'm trying really hard" faces. It wasn't a good moment. I should have put the shorts on. As I'm running along, 2 carloads of people going to the beach. They stick their heads out and they're like, "Yeah, go Chris!" I pretended they weren't being sarcastic. Later on, one of the girls in the car, she comes up to me and she says, "Hey Chris, how do you stay so skinny?" That's not the sort of question you want from girls. You want guys coming up to you and saying, "Hey dude, how do you stay so massive?" "Hey Chris, how do you stay so skinny?" I run. Lots of running in Speedos. That was a moment when I was leaving a legacy. I knew that from then on, people had this vision of me running up College Drive in Speedos every time they saw me. A legacy moment. Another time, I joined the choir at Avondale. At Avondale, you do get the chance to do some good singing with good harmony. I'd been practicing with the choir, but I hadn't attended all of the practices, and I missed one of the practices where they decided that we should all wear black for the next performance. I wake up late Sabbath morning. I grab my wardrobe out. I grab an electric blue shirt. It looks fantastic. It's bright. It's got color. I go running through the back of the church. The choir's about to perform. I see my space. I run through the back. I stand up and I look around. Everyone else is in black. I'm there in bright blue. I looked like I was about to sing an amazing solo. I mean, it was... We get tune and we have prayer, and one of my friends, he's actually wearing black and he's in the band. The band didn't have the same directions. And he comes, he's like, "Dude, swap shirts right now." So while people are praying, we're out the back changing shirts. I stand back up there. I'm glad we didn't perform with me in a blue shirt, but there was that moment where everybody stood up and they saw just Chris. That's all. That's all. Those legacy moments. Those moments where you know that everyone is paying attention to you. Those moments when you know your life is changing. One last, it's quick, it's silly. I was hiking, it was Duke of Edinburgh. I was in high school. I was sure my life was about to change because there was a girl who I was in love with and she was ahead of me. We were walking through the bush, and if you haven't done Duke of Edinburgh, it's the best thing to do in the world. You get your backpacks on, you navigate, you learn how to walk through the bush and do outdoorsy stuff. It's exciting. I was walking behind this girl and I was sure she was going to fall in love with me. I was talking to her throughout the entire day, chatting. One point of the day, we're walking up a hill, 45 minutes, this long, steep hill. We're walking up and I'm behind her, and I see this moment where her backpack starts coming back towards me. And I think to myself, yes, here's my chance. She's going to fall backwards into my arms. I'm going to catch her. She's going to fall in love with me, and we're going to make a legacy together. It is about to happen. But then I calculate. I thought, no, listen, wait. I'm in high school. I'm not the biggest guy. She's got a backpack on. She's falling backwards down a hill. I probably can't catch her. Maybe I'll just keep her upright. I'll just lean into her and just, and then I'll be like, "Hey, I saved your life, I got a little too keen. I got a little too eager. My amorous affections kind of got... She started coming backwards, and I was like, "I've got you." Hands on the back of her pack, all the energy I've got. I pushed her flat on her face. Bang. Backpack on her back. I'm like, "I love you." I'm like, "Hey, so, you didn't fall over there." And she's like, "I wasn't falling, I was standing up to take a rest." We didn't create a legacy together. I could go on. I know you guys love this stuff. You're cruel and awful. Be a clown for us, Chris. Tell us more about your failure. I'm sure in a few years' time I'll also regret this bow tie. I mean, who seriously dress up like Doctor Who to take a youth rally? What do you do? What do I do? What do? You want to feel like you've had some impact on earth. You want to feel like you've had some impact on history and all that follows you. You're told to be a leader. You're told to change the world as Christians. What do you do if you feel average? What do you do if you don't feel like you're a success? Even worse, what do you feel or what do you do if you just think your life is just kind of falling apart? If there's too much sin in it, or if you're just too broken, what are you going to do? How are you going to change the world? What's your hope? You're not a genius. That's okay. You're average. What do? I take comfort in three things. Three things. The first thing I take comfort in is in crowd crushes. Yes, I find a crowd crush comforting. It's all warm and squishy, and then you can't breathe. A crowd crush at a Michael Jackson concert. You know the phenomena, don't you? The people in the front row, they're all like, "Oh, Michael, I love you." And then the people behind, they do the same thing. They're like, "Oh, Michael, I love you." And what happens is you have 500 people leaning forward with just a kilogram of pressure. But what happens is the cumulative weight of everybody leaning forward creates a crushing phenomena at the front. There's this amplified effect as everybody brings their energy and leans forward. In this world, there are some solo legacies, names that show up in history books. But collectively, our actions and opinions always contribute to a particular legacy. In this world, there are legacies that are created because many people add the weight of their life to an idea, a way of life, a practice, or a program. And these legacies are great only because they have the cumulative weight of many individual lives, just adding a little more pressure, a little more agreement, a little more effort in a certain direction. Together, we can leave a legacy. Yes, it is true in this world there are some who are leaving a solo name in the history book sort of legacy, but even though an individual might be doing great things in a particular area, in everywhere else that they live, they are still one life of many, adding weight to other legacies. So yes, if you are Albert Einstein, you should still probably pay for your movies online. And if you're Mother Teresa, I love what you do with the poor, but you should also recycle. Because little things add up, and the influence of each person creates a culture and a momentum that can accomplish great and important things in society. They didn't name the library after me at Avondale, but I'm proud of the fact that I was one more person who said I value the education at Avondale, that I added the weight of one more life to that institution, that I said I wanted to study at a place that realizes knowledge is best learned when it has the firm epistemological foundations in a God who has gifted us with knowledge and rationality. Go to Avondale, join the Glee Club, it is the best. I am proud that I added one more life to the numbers of those who survived living in Coburg. I am glad of the fact that I can say that I add the weight of one more life to those who follow Jesus. The added weight of one more life that says, I need grace. The added weight of one more life who says Jesus is truth and peace and hope. I am glad that I go to church regularly. I mean, I am paid to be there. But even if I wasn't, I would still go weekly. And I would be proud of the fact that I add just one more person to my local church, making it feel full and vibrant. It's important to go to church weekly. I am proud of the fact that I recycle. And sometimes I pay for movies online. I am proud of the fact that I can add the weight of one more life to the power of hope and peace and love, that I can add the weight of one more voice to the ideas in this world that speak of hope and not nihilism. It is a small, high-pitched, somewhat nasally voice, but I'm glad that it adds something. Church, youth, wherever you go, whatever you do, you add the weight of another life to a force, a position, a power in this world, and that will have a lasting impact. Some of you have far more weight in particular areas, more weighty talents, but I have some weight, and I am glad with what I can do in my life. You've all swung on a swing, haven't you? If you haven't swung on a swing, you failed childhood. Just go back and do it again. But you know the process, don't you? You sit down on the swing and you begin by shifting back and forth. You have that race with your sister, legs up, who can get swinging the highest and the farthest the first. You sit on the swing and you begin shifting your weight back and forth ever so slightly. And initially it's just frustrating because there's just little momentum. But as you add your weight at the right times, eventually you begin swinging across an arc of meters and meters. It would be a foolish question. If someone were to come to you and say, hey, listen, tell me what was the one big thing that you did to get yourself swinging so far and so high? You could only answer and say, listen, it was the culmination of many small things. Little efforts multiplied together, which has now created a massive force that cannot be stopped without massive effort. You've all seen those videos of children walking in front of swings. It's sad, but mostly funny. The Christian movement is the multiplication of many small actions put together. The kingdom of God is a culmination of many small things, little actions that together create an unstoppable force, a long-lasting legacy. I am glad that I am able to add the weight of my life to that force that is moving through society, that force that is cruising through society and picking up the desperate, the broken, the lonely, that force that says Jesus is enough and grace is good enough. What single note is it in a symphony that makes it great? Or conversely, which note in a Justin Bieber song makes it awful? Which shot wins the golf tournament? Which turn of the crank got Cadell Evans across the line first? Which sentence makes for an amazing book? Which tree makes for a beautiful forest? Which ingredients makes the perfect spaghetti sauce? The truth is, youth, every action of your lives, especially the seemingly small ones, play an important part in a legacy of a greater whole. Together, we can do amazing things. You don't have to be a genius. You don't have to be a leader. You don't have to have phenomenal powers in this world. You just have to be somebody who is willing to add the weight of your life to Jesus. I take comfort in crowd crushes. Together, we can do amazing things. The first thing I take comfort in, if you're an average person like me, take comfort in crowd crushes. The second thing I take comfort in is Vincent van Gogh. Yes, Vincent van Gogh, the man. I take comfort in the way in which God can give some people a singularly important legacy, even when all other signs indicate they may not have one. See, when you are faithful in the little things, God can use anything you do for great effect. What is the most commonly known fact about Vincent van Gogh? He cut off his ear for unrequited love. I love you. Don't do that. It wasn't successful. He cut off his ear for unrequited love. But you know what I wish more people knew about Vincent? His first love, his first passion was for Jesus. Vincent van Gogh wanted to be a minister. He just wasn't that good at it. He went and studied a course at a seminary class and failed the entire thing. So he went to another place and studied again and again, failed. But eventually they said, listen, this guy's desperate, he's keen, he wants to be a minister. We'll give him a small parish, Peut-être-was-Mise, in this small Belgium mining town. Go ahead, have a go, Vincent, we'll see what you can do. Vincent van Gogh goes and begins ministering there, but he's got this incredible heart that has passion for the poor. And so as a result, he doesn't take the wage that he's given, he spends most of it on the poor. He lives in a barn, he has one set of clothes that he barely washes, he doesn't shave, and he gives most of his money away. He goes to church, and the church, they take offense at their stinky pastor. This is a true story. So the church says, Vincent, listen, it's not good what you're doing. We'll take up an offering, we'll take up a collection. Go have a bath, go set yourself up in a nice place, live somewhere respectable, get a shave, and then you can give money to the poor afterwards, but just at least stop living in a barn. It's not cool for our pastor. They said, here, Vincent, the money's yours. And he said, that's my money? Yeah, okay. So he took the money and went and gave it to the poor. It was awesome. It's true. So the church got together again. And they're like, maybe we didn't quite give him enough clear instruction. Maybe he didn't think the offering was big enough. True story. They catch the offering again and they go, Vincent, please, clean yourself up. Your stinky pastor, it's not working. Vincent, again, this is my money? Yes, go, use it. Gave it to the poor again. I love it. His ministry didn't last long. He was sent away from the church, and these words are recorded in history for undermining the dignity of the priesthood. That's pretty brutal. Devastated him. It broke his heart. And years later, with more grief under his belt, Vincent van Gogh began painting his Starry Night. You know that famous, beautiful painting? Swirling stars, beautiful depiction of the sunset, of the evening sky that he sees as he looks out across the scene. But there's one thing in that painting that it still breaks my heart to see it as well. In that painting, there are all these houses depicted, and they've got these warm, glowing lights in them. The sky is alight with colour and movement. The scene is beautiful, it's alive, it's gorgeous, but smack in the centre of that painting, there's a dark hole. There's an empty space, and in the centre of that space, there is a church without any lights on. There is a church depicted as a hole in a beautiful scene. Vincent van Gogh, he wanted to leave a legacy. He wanted to change the world. And if you had have gone to Vincent van Gogh and said, listen, how's your legacy going? What do you want to leave as your legacy? He would have said, I want to be a minister. And if you asked him how it was going, he would have said it was a complete failure. He would have said, I failed at leaving any impact on history. I have failed, and yet I would say through his failure, and because of his faithfulness to the poor, I believe Van Gogh was used by God. He was used by God to bring a newfound expression to human life. Vincent van Gogh led the post-impressionist movement. He developed a way of painting that was effective at communicating the deepest parts of human souls. He gave joy and beauty to the world, but he also never realized or saw the full extent of the legacy that he left to the world. I take heart because I never know what little things that I do may be used by God for great effect. All the things that we do in our lives, as I said, it adds to the crush. It adds to the collective weight that is pushing in a certain direction. But by staying faithful in small things, you never know if God may want to use something small that you have done, or even your failure, to achieve great things for his kingdom. So who knows, maybe one day they will name the library after me. I'll put a statue up in Coburg. It doesn't have to be a big one. It just has to have good arms. But if that does happen, it won't be because I was particularly great. It will only be because God took my 5 loaves and 2 fishes and used them for his purposes. Most of the events that we saw recorded in the Gospels are really what we would call little things, little acts. The events that are recorded in the Gospels, they're not legacy moments in themselves, but in God's hands they become part of the greatest story ever told. Joseph, his responsiveness to the Holy Spirit. Don't leave Mary. The innkeeper, you can have the stable for the night. He's there fulfilling prophecy, but he's giving them the stable. It's not a big legacy moment. There are 3 men who are going to a family that is in poverty, and they give him gifts. Sure, Jesus, you can use my boat to travel in and preach from. Not a big thing. Lend a boat, my goodness. Yes, you can have 5 loaves and 2 fishes. Do with them what you want. Sure, my table is available. Jesus, meet with whoever you want around there. Let us just carry one man into the presence of Jesus. There's that vile woman with that small vial of perfume. That widow who gives just 2 coins. There's the gift of that little donkey that walks just a few steps on a small room. There is the giving of the upper room for a few hours. There is the carrying of the cross for just a few paces. And then this is the best part of all. There is the gift of a tomb that is used for just one day. I love it. The gospel narrative is filled with little things, little responses to the Holy Spirit, little events that easily could have gone unnoticed, events that would have looked paltry and insignificant when viewed on a dusty road in a small backwater town in the middle of the desert. Events that are little events, yet they are absolutely crucial to the success of the gospel. So church, please be faithful. Be faithful because you never know what God will do with your life and what sort of impact you may have. You still might go viral in God's kingdom. I take comfort in crowd crushers. I take comfort in Vincent van Gogh. Lastly, for the average amongst us, I take comfort in my baby. Yes. The fact is, love never feels average. A legacy of love never feels average to those who receive it. It's pretty simple. Love never feels average to those who receive it. I've procreated. I am proud of this. And now my sermons, I apologize to one Turner, but my sermons are now full of illustrations about my 6-month-old daughter. I stand up there and for 40 minutes I just speak stream of consciousness telling story after story about things my daughter did. She sat up this week, she ate lentils this week. And then I finish it all with, and those stories are exactly like that story in the Bible that you all know. Amen. It's awful. They still come, they're kind. My daughter, she doesn't understand how average I am. I come home from a day where there really haven't been any legacy events as far as I can tell. Nothing earth-shattering has been accomplished, but as I open the door, her whole little body, it shakes with joy. It's the cutest thing in the world. She squeals and she buries her head in her mum's neck as she just can't take the joy of seeing me again, and it's just a disaster for me as well. She doesn't understand ministry. She doesn't understand taxes. She doesn't understand households. She doesn't understand provision. She doesn't know about money. She just knows that I like her a lot. And for her little soul, it certainly doesn't feel like I am leaving her an average legacy. It is more than a love. Anytime someone loves you, anytime you receive love, it is the greatest experience on earth. So church, just love. Love well. Anywhere and everywhere you go, and to those who receive it, they will never say, oh, there goes an average man or an average woman. They will simply say, there goes somebody who loved me, and I will never forget it. So to those geniuses amongst us, good on you. Keep going, lead, keep changing the world. I congratulate you, I applaud you. But to the rest of us, remember the crowd crushers. Add your effort, your life's energy to legacies that deserve it. And also, please be faithful in little things, because God can use anything you do for great effect. And then simply love, because love is never average. And then you'll be leaving a legacy with the best of them. So church, go and change the world.